There was a couple who debated the purchase of a vehicle. Laid-back Larry says he wanted something old, worn, and comfortable. Wanting Wanda, on the other hand, wanted something fast, something new, something that would go from 0 to 200 in 4 seconds. She played the birthday card. It's my birthday. Why don't you surprise me? So Larry decided to surprise her, and he bought her a nice gift, and he put a big red bow on it. And Wanda was surprised. She closed her eyes, and she went over to the gift, and she opened her eyes, and sure enough, there was a gift that went from 0 to 200 in 4 seconds. She was surprised to receive a bathroom scale. Do you think that's what Wanda wanted? That's the 2 tragedies in life. Getting something you want and then not getting what you wanted. I could relate to Wanda. One particular birthday when my daughter said, "Happy 50th birthday, Mom." And then they handed me a gift certificate and I read, 1 tandem skydive. For me? For real? And they're like, "Don't worry, Mom. 50 is the new 40. You can do it." Well, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have always wanted to skydive from the time I was 18 years old. But no, what stopped me was the thought of breaking my legs. You've seen those jumpers come down. They come down hard. They come down fast, and they roll. Well, I didn't want my legs to be broken, so I didn't pay attention to that dream. Well, my daughter said, "You can do it, Mom. You're the new 40. You can do it." So with that in mind, I got those dreams back, the dreams of being strapped onto hard-bodied Mr. Olympus, going through the air. I remember that dream. Well, maybe I could do it. So with that in mind, I went to the Ronan Airport in Ronan, Montana, to meet my jumper and to go through the jump that my daughters had planned for me. My husband picked up some extra insurance along the way because he thought it was a crazy idea. But there I met my expert, and an expert is anyone from out of town, and that was my jumper Gary. He was from out of town, and he was an expert. He had 800 jumps under his belt, and 400 of them were tandem jumps. Oh, I couldn't wait to meet Mr. Olympus. I knew this was going to be a great ride. Well, and then I met Gary. Gary, he was great, but he was my age, and well, it looked like he had a beach ball under his shirt. Goodbye, Mr. Olympus. But anyhow, off we went, and Gary gave me some great instructions. He was a great teacher until he said, "Jackie, how do you want to land?" Well, the only way that jumpers land. On your legs, Gary, of course. And he says, "No, that's not an option. Your weight, my weight, that's too much. That would break my legs." Oh no, this was not the gift I wanted. This was not it, no. And he says, "Well, we could land on our sides." Well, gee, no, I don't want to do that. My arm would go tearing off and then I'd be a partial paraplegic. No, I didn't want that. "No, Gary." And then he says, "Well, I know a lot of people land on their fronts. We could land on your front." What? I've never heard of that before. Was he joking? He was not joking. That's what got me. He was not joking. And I was thinking, what did he think? I had 2 50-pound pressure tires under my shirt? I had landing gear that was just going to come out? No. So that was not an option for me. Then Gary says, "Okay, don't be upset. Maybe you could tell that the estrogen was draining from my body and I was ready to hurt him." Because then he says, okay. He said, "There's one other option. If you can possibly raise both legs at the same time and hold them there, you could probably land on your rear, your bum, and I could land on my knees." Okay, yeah, I can do that. And he says, no, women can't do that. Well, I can do that. I'd been working out at the gym. and I was working on an ab six-pack. And I'd picked up the rest of it on the way. I was motivated to use it. I think I could do it. So the ride up was lifting, and Gary was great explaining everything on the way. And maybe it was the lack of oxygen, but at 10,000 feet and the plane going 90 miles an hour, I don't know, I got courage that I didn't know I had. It was a surprise gift. And I calmly crawled out under the bottom of this airplane wing, held on, Gary on my back, and then we cartwheeled through the air. It was beautiful. And my friend said, watch out, you're gonna mess your underwear. But guess what? 165 miles an hour, we free fell. My underwear remained clean, dry. I was very proud. And then Gary put the little donut, we went up in the air. Then we went the big parachute. And this was the dream I had always wanted. It was a surprise gift because I didn't know I could become one with the earth. This was what I'd always dreamed of, to understand the realization of heaven and earth and how it comes together. And then Gary, he broke my trance, and he says, okay, let me see you lift those legs. Okay, like a gorilla on steroids, somehow I got the gift of strength. And the gift of strength, not once, not twice, but 3 times I lifted my legs and I held them out there. I was surprised at my strength. And then we landed. Bumpity, bumpity, bump on my bum, Gary on his knees. Folks, that was the surprise of the gift that I just didn't realize I would receive. 3 special gifts of strength, gratitude, being one with the earth, and courage. I did not know that this would be my gifts. Well, guess what? More birthdays are coming up. I will remember that one forever. But I have voices in my head, and they're saying there's more to come. And that's what's going to happen. More birthday surprises. Thank you.
Madam Timer, if we can have 1 minute of silence for our judges to complete their evaluations.
Okay.
Shell, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Brian Logston. Songs in the Key of Your Life. Songs in the Key of Your Life, Brian Logston.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the rocks. Merrily, 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 don't forget your waterproof socks. Now you all know those aren't the right words, right? We all know the right words because there's some songs that just stick with us all our lives. And Row Your Boat is one of them. Those words, those were given to me by my older brother when I was this high, and they stuck with me to this day. Fellow Toastmasters and fellow rowers on the sea of life, I don't know if life imitates songs or if songs imitate life, but I do know that songs help define the times and experiences that we live. So I want you to come with me, travel down some of the songs of my life. Because when I was just a little boy, I asked my mother, what will I be? And here's what she said to me. Not another day older if you don't clean your room. So I went up the stairs to my beautiful bedroom, and I lived another day. Let's hear it for the boy, 'cause I went to school days, good old golden drool days. Reading and writing and arithmetic, taught to the tune of a hickory stick. Did I mention I went to a Catholic grade school? I went on to high school too, and something really changed my life there. I fell in love with a girl, and they called it puppy love. Well, she was just 17, if you know what I mean. The way she looked was way beyond her hair. How could I dance with my mother? Woo. But we thought we were in love. We thought love and marriage is bound to lead to a baby carriage. Well, we never did get married, but we did get a song. If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do is to save every day till eternity passes away. That lasted 6 months. But we did try to name our kids Adam, Bo, Badam, Banana, Hannah, Fofadam, Seaside. Okay, maybe not Saddam. I went off to college, the Ohio State University. Dun, 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 dun. And what did I do? I fell in love with a girl. It was like an old-fashioned love song, one I know I wrote just for me. Her name was Jamie Weaver. Oh, Jamie Weaver, I believe you can get me through the night. And that's how long that lasted. Summers out of college, I would go working on coal silos. My dad worked for the company, so I was working at the coal mines, going down, working at the coal mine. Woo! About to lose my mind. I liked having money in my pockets. When I was in college, I was a poor college student, eating peanut butter, top ramen. They had it back then too. When I was working at the coal mines, I had money. I was like a rhinestone cowboy. So when I went back to school, I said, bye, bye, Miss American Pie. And I drove my Chevy west to a Rocky Mountain high in Colorado. I worked construction. I traveled town to town. I was king of the road. I was a man of very few means. Why? I was broke every Wednesday because it was ladies' night and the feeling's right. But even that gets old for a cowboy on the road. It was like a desperado. You've got to come to your senses. You got to let somebody love you. And I did let somebody love me. A pretty woman, the kind you like to meet. Pretty woman. And what did we do? We went to the chapel and we went and got married. Lasted 16 years. First 14 were pretty happy. Then I realized she was killing me softly with her song, taking my whole life with her words. So we got a DIVORCE. Well, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. Well, I ran, and as usual, right into the arms of another woman. My brown-eyed girl, do you remember when? And people would smile and say, you're the lucky one, gonna have a son. The sun is gonna shine above. And my songs got younger. Winnie the Pooh doesn't know what to do, got a honey jar stuck on his nose. He came to Dad asking help and advice, took the keys and no one knows where he goes. My son and I sang a song. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll always know, son, how much I love you, 'cause I love you more and more each day. Tell Toastmasters and rowers and singers, I don't know if life imitates the songs or if the songs imitate life. But I do know life is a cabaret, my friends, and all you need is love on this long and winding road that leads to your future. Life just keeps on rolling, rolling, rolling on the river, and all you have to do is row.
If we could have 1 minute of silence for our judges, please.
At some point, I'm gonna have to get some sleep. She's partying. Yeah, I was hanging out with Shell. Partying out.
Two wild ones.
Well, we were at the same function.
Was there alcohol?
Oh yeah,
Partying?
free alcohol.
Your book, Fergus.
No, I don't need it yet. I don't need it yet.
was this couple last night. Oh my gosh, the wife was so mean to him. She was always yelling at him. He wasn't even allowed to sit next to her.
Really? What function were you guys at?
With that VIP dinner for Brittles.
Oh.
So you drink on the rest of the night and go home. Ella was giving me a call too, and then you go to have dinner. You're already killed me as I didn't eat lunch. But most of my wine landed on my lap as I said breakfast. All over my lap.
Oh, yeah, the chair. The chair.
Oh, the chair. I forgot the chair. Yeah. Thank you for remembering that, Jane.
No problem.
Forgot all about it.
Where would you like your chair?
A position.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contestant is Fergus Mitchell. Improve your speech with props. Improve your speech with props. Fergus Mitchell.
Most of us are not aware of it, but right now we're on the verge of a revolution that will change the way we speak English. Mr. Chairman, Toastmasters, honored judges, within 20 years, we will be pronouncing words in a new way. A new way started by a professor at Oxford. How many have heard of George Fryingham? How many? Good, good, good. He's already made impact in Britain. Now over there, because of him, they no longer park their car in the garage. Now, they park it in the garage. Okay. What he's done is to take a word like garage and shift the accent. So we no longer have garage. Now we have garage. And he's done this with hundreds of words. And so you can hear how this sounds. I'm going to tell a story with the new pronunciation. But first, we are going to learn some of his words. I'm going to say one, and you guess which one it is. Everybody ready? You all ready? The Fergus. The dentist uses it. I can smell it. Smell it. That's the Fergus that we're smelling. The Fergus. Dentists use it. It's 2 words. It's up there. Someone tell us what it is. It's up there, 2 words. Someone tell us.
Laughing gas.
Laughing gas. A crazy speaker. What is a crazy speaker? 3 words. It's on the board. Someone tell us what it is. 3 words. What is it?
Speaker.
What?
A crazy speaker.
A crazy speaker. And now the story. Oh, by the way, if you're ever tempted to give a crazy speech, don't. Because you could end up in the insanosalum. And now the story. Goldilocks and the 3 birds. Once upon a time, there were 3 birds. Papa bird, Mama bird, and the bobber. But they were not ordinary birds. They were Griselda birds. One morning, Mama bird cooked up a big batch of porridge, and she dished it out into 3 bowels, and they all sat down to eat it. But poor Bobber had a toothache, so off they went to see Dr. Fergus, and they left the bowels of porridge on the table. But while they were gone, along came a pretty little. Her name was Goldilocks. She was Hungary, and she smelled the porridge. So on in she went, and she saw a big bowl. She didn't know it, but it was Papa's bowl. But it smelled good. So she took Aspen and distilled it to hack, and she spat it. Then she distilled my mother's bowl. Oh, too cold. And she spat it out. And then she distilled wee Bobber's bowl. Ooh, yummy. And she added it all up. But then she had a stomachache. So she went upstairs and lay down in Bobber's bed and went sound asleep and dreamed about a big bowl of porridge, and her stomach got worse. And then she heard a growl, and it woke her up. And there, in front of her, were the 3 birds. And remember, they were Griselda birds, staring right at her. And she cried out, "Moly houses!" And then she escaped out the window and ran smack bang into George Fryham. Even worse, because he's the bogus that started the whole thing in the first place. Mr. Chairman.
If we can give 1 minute of silence, please.
Put your stuff away first.
Oh, we're good.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Rich Briner. Fresh bait, Rich Briner.
I'm 38 years old. I'm a bachelor. I've never been married. I'm painting the shutters on Grandma Briner's house. All of a sudden, Grandma Briner comes around the corner. She's 88 years old. She has a cane. She's got white frizzy hair. And she comes up to me and she asks the question that every single person over 21 has been asked. Richie, when are you gonna get married? Graham, there's a lot of fish in the sea. I'm not worried about the fish. I'm worried about the bait. The bait is gonna get stale. Fellow Toastmasters and guests and anyone who has ever pursued a member of the opposite sex. This is the story of how I tried to keep the bait fresh, to make the perfect catch, and get and hook the perfect woman. 5 years later, I'm engaged, and I've been engaged for 5 years. And I drop off my fiancée one night, and I wonder, why is it that she won't get married? And is this the right person? I drove over to my parents' house. I saw that the porch light was on. It was a Friday night. It was still early. So I stopped in. I walked in the living room, and there was my mother knitting. My dad was over in the corner of the living room snoring with the TV on mute. I said, Mom, how do you find the right person to marry? She said, don't ask me. Ask your father. He did a better job than I did. I said, Mom, come on, get serious here. I really want to know. Give me some help. She said, well, what does Janet like about you? And I said, well, Janet thinks that I'm handsome, intelligent, and sexy. And she said, well, what do you like about Janet? And I said, that she thinks I'm handsome, intelligent, and sexy. So I didn't know what to do. But I went to see Graham. And I asked Graham again. I said, Graham, all she said was, Richie, why do you hesitate? I know what you're asking me. Why do you hesitate? And I said, well, we have these arguments, my fiancée and I. Like the time we were going through the southwest part of the state of Montana. And we're driving along, and I see this green and white sign, and it says B-U-T-T-E. And I said, Janet, that's Butte, Montana. She says, no, it's Butte. I said, no, it's Butte. She says, no, it's Butte. I said, well, it's near lunchtime. Let's pull off the interstate, go into this fast food restaurant, and check this out. And she was determined. As soon as the car stopped, she got out, walked into the restaurant, walked right up to the front counter, and said to the manager, would you tell me clearly and distinctly where we are? And he said, Burger King. So we have these arguments. In fact, we had an argument so bad, and it occurred one day because at the end of the meal, Janet asked me to scrape the melted cheese off of the plate and put it in this sink to soak. I mean, what an awful thing for a spouse to ask to do. And I stormed out, and I didn't talk to Janet for about 10 days. And during that time, we had been registered for a couples class, a massage couples class. And I thought, I picked up the phone and I called, "Sir, listen, can we cancel that massage class?" He says, "I'm sorry, we cannot refund your money." Hung up. I thought, oh, I'm going to this massage class, and I'm not going to apologize to my fiancée. No way. So I show up at the hospital, and there's a room there. It's got subdued lighting. There's about 8 or 9 married couples who are in bathrobes with skimpy outfits underneath. There's romantic music playing and candlelight, and I'm looking around, and I'm the only guy there without a partner. But all of a sudden, in walks this 6'6" postal worker, and he doesn't have a partner either. And the man director says, "Okay, but you are going to go with you." I thought, oh no, this can't be. And he hands me some massage oil. So I found myself about 15 minutes later massaging the thighs of this 6'6" giant with this sticky, yucky oil, and I didn't even know the dude. All because I didn't want to apologize. And, well, eventually did apologize. We did get married. We went to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, got married at the hitching post. Took about 5 minutes. Janet was lovely, just lovely. And after the ceremony, the minister looked at Janet, and she was so radiant. He said, "How can you be so confident with your relationship with Rich?" And Janet said, "Oh, that's easy. You see, we're both in love with the same man." Well, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I am really grateful that I found the perfect woman. I'm also glad that she wasn't looking for the perfect man.
If we may have 1 minute of silence, please. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Rick Anderson. There I was. There I was, Rick Anderson.
There I was. There I was. A brand new employee working for Delta Airlines Incorporated, and I was excited. Woo! I can see the looks on a few of your faces, probably thinking Delta Airlines, big deal. What you don't understand is, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, most honored and welcome guests, that back in the day, Delta Airlines, they were the Cadillac of airlines to work for. Not only that, they were the Cadillac of airlines to fly on. And I had a dream. I wanted to work my way up the ladder and to be a captain flying the 767 aircraft on the JFK to London route, or maybe the Miami to Milan route. I wasn't quite sure about that part yet, but I knew I had a dream and I had a plan, and my foot was in the door. And a few days before my official start date, I received them in the mail, my Delta uniforms. Oh, they were beautiful. They were beautiful. It was like receiving the Holy Grail. I opened up the box, put a crisp coat of starch on them, ironed them up, put them on, and I looked in the mirror. And I got to tell you, it looked pretty good. And then I went to the place where everyone goes to show off their uniform. I went to the mall. And I guess it's true what they say about a man in uniform, because after I walked by that orange Julius stand for about the 10th time, that lady was really checking me out. Finally, it's my first day on the job, and I'm so excited, and I'm nervous, and I'm enthusiastic, and I've got my crisp uniform on, and I've got my big smile, and I was ordered to go to the warehouse and meet with all the other instructors and the employees. And I'm sitting in there, and first the supervisor walks out, and you can tell he's important because he has the clipboard. And he walks out, and he goes over a few announcements for the day of canceled flights and delayed flights. And then he goes over the roster of who's going to be working where. And he goes down the list. And he says, Anderson, welcome to Delta Airlines. We've got you on the Honey Bucket. And I thought, sweet, the Honey Bucket. Yes. I have no idea what the Honey Bucket is, but with a name like Honey Bucket, it's got to be good. And I'm thinking they were probably really impressed with my math scores. That's why the first day on the job, I'm doing the Honey Bucket. All right. After all the announcements and the meeting, this very old man comes to put his hand on my shoulder, and he says, follow me, kid. I'm your trainer. And we go to the back of the warehouse, and we swing open the swinging doors. And there, parked all by itself, is the Honey Bucket. Suddenly, my 5-year plan just turned into a 10-year plan. The Honey Bucket is a truck with a great big tank on the back. The driver of the Honey Bucket, it's their job to drive from airplane to airplane, hook up the hose, and empty the toilet. So I'm not sure who's in charge of giving out names at Delta, but they got this one all wrong. There's nothing sweet about the Honey Bucket. But as we're driving out to the airplane, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to make the best of this. I'm going to make the best of this. I'm going to be the best Honey Bucket driver Delta Airlines has ever seen. I'm going to be the Top Gun of Honey Bucket drivers. Highway to the Honey Bucket. And we're headed out there. And after a few days of training, yeah, I've got my mojo on. And I'm already thinking down the road of when I'm a captain on that 767 aircraft. Yeah, I could use this as part of my announcement. This is your captain speaking. We're at 35,000 feet. I'd like you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. And by the way, if that toilet gets clogged, just go ahead and ring your overhead call button, because I used to work the Honey Bucket. Yeah. I get it all laid out. Had my mojo going, got well trained. After about the 4th day, something happened. There was a flight from Chicago to Salt Lake City. It was a normal flight. Looked at the manifest. The flight said it was oversold, which means every seat was filled. And back then, they had full meal service. Full meal service. I did my normal routine, backed the truck up, hooked up the hose, hit the lever, and then I waited. And while I was waiting, I was waving to the rest of my Delta family, waving to the people up in the jetway who were pointing at me and laughing at me. After a few minutes, I looked back down at the gauge, and the gauge said 0. And I thought, well, the gauge is never wrong. So unhooked the hose, put the hose back on the truck. And then I heard a sound that has been with me for about the last 2 decades. It was a gurgle sound, and it seems like whenever you hear a sound like that, your first instinct is to look for where it came from. I heard a bloop. Well, I wonder what that was. At about that moment, 200 gallons of raw Chicago sewage come rolling out on me. That's what I said, John. Yeah. My body was paralyzed with shock. However, my mind was fully thinking. And 2 thoughts went through my mind. Number 1, as a society, we're not eating enough fiber. I encourage you after this morning's meeting to go and get some bananas, fruit. Take it from me. I know what you're eating. Second of all, I'm Rick Anderson, and nobody dumps on Rick Anderson. Nobody. Not Delta Airlines, not Continental Airlines, not United Airlines. Nobody dumps on Rick Anderson. They can take this job. So I got off the honey bucket, walked to the front, took off my stinky gloves, threw them in the cab, got the rest of the sludge off, got in the truck, and I went over to the warehouse. I thought, there's no way I'm going to keep this job. And I walked into my supervisor's office and I said, sir, I need to run home and get cleaned up and find a good therapist. Ladies and gentlemen, that's made all the difference, because I knew there'd be times when I would get dumped on again, but I didn't quit. There I was.
One minute of silence, please. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, Sandy Robinson. Your children may be smarter than you think. Your children may be smarter than you think. Sandy Robinson.
The wonderful thing about advice is this: it's free. It's free for the giving, and it's free for the taking. And so this morning I just have some free advice. It's advice for parents everywhere, but particularly parents of young children. And the advice is simply this: your children may be smarter than you think, and sometimes they may be even smarter than you are. I began my journey into parenthood well over 30 years ago now, and I'll admit it, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I hadn't done this before, and the problem with children is they don't come with instruction manuals. Oh sure, there's plenty of expert advice out there, and in my day I read the experts. There was Dr. Spock and Dr. James Dobson, and I recently asked another young mother what kind of things she reads today and guiding her journey to parenthood. And she gave me the stack. Well, as I was studying on this stack, I see that Dr. Dobson's still around. Don't know much about this. The Secret of Happy Children. It's a whole book, so I'm guessing it's more than cookies and ice cream. And here's one, Raising Baby Green. Now, I can assure you that 35 years ago, none of us were thinking about raising green babies. If I'd have heard of green babies when I was raising my children, I would have been afraid one of them got into the finger paint. Nevertheless, I did read and did the best I could, but the flaw with this plan is when a child is born and when they're little, they don't know how to read. So they don't read the advice of experts and they don't necessarily always follow the plan. Now, I remember an incident when my 4-year-old took my 2-year-old aside and said to her, "Now look, you're just making Mom crazy. You're not going to get better if you don't take your medicine. We need you to take your medicine. Do you think you can do that?" And that little 2-year-old looked right up at her and said, "Okay." Now, why this plan was more successful than all of my begging and pleading and cajoling and nearly chokeholding the kid trying to shove the medicine in her, I'm just not really sure. And then there's the whole issue of potty training. Now, I realized with my first child, there was tension and there was pressure. It became a battle of wills between the two of us. She knew perfectly well what to do. And she also knew that I wanted her to do it. And she had made up her mind that she would do that when she was darn good and ready, thank you very much. Well, when it came time for child number 2, I was determined not to make those mistakes again. But when she was a little bit over 2, I went ahead and pulled out the potty chair and showed it to her, kind of explained the idea of this is what this thing is and this is what you could use it for and this might be what you might want to do. Maybe, no pressure. And again, her big sister kind of apprises the situation and takes her aside and says, no. You don't want that thing. Number 1, it's gross. And number 2, it's for babies. If you want to go potty like big people and you don't want to be a baby anymore, you just do it like this. And she jumped up on the toilet, demonstrated how it was done, and that was that. My 2-year-old was potty trained. Your children may be smarter than you think, and yes, they can even be smarter than you. Well, finally, they were both in school. And this was a bit stressful for me because the year my youngest went to kindergarten, we bought a new house, and it was clear on the other side of town. And while the school district allowed me to go ahead and put my children in the school they'd be going to, our house wasn't going to be ready for a couple of months. So that required me to drive them to school. So the routine quickly became drive to school in the morning with the oldest child, come back home. About noontime, drive to school again with the kindergartner, get her into school, go back home. Then go back to school and pick up the kindergartner and wait around for about half an hour till the older one got out and come back home. And we had done this for a couple of months. So imagine my delight when our house is finally ready, we're in our new home and I learn there's a school bus. And not only that, that school bus is going to pick up the children right at the foot of my driveway. It just doesn't get better than this. So that first morning after we had stayed in our house, put number 1 on the school bus, bye-bye, have a good day, see you after school. And when it's kindergarten time, I go down to the end of the driveway with my kindergartner, escort her onto the bus, and I remind her now, Mom won't be there after school to pick you up. You're going to come home on the bus today, and I'll be right here, right at the end of the driveway waiting for you. Bye-bye, have a good day. Woo-hoo, 2 hours of freedom, no children, and nowhere I have to drive. But true to my word, I'm at the end of that driveway waiting for that school bus. And I'm waiting for a bus that never did come. Because what I didn't know and hadn't bothered to check out is the afternoon route didn't drop the children off the same place where it picked them up. It dropped them at the gate about 3 or 4 blocks behind our neighborhood. I couldn't find my child. I was panicked. And I was sure she was panicked. I didn't know where she was. She didn't know where I was. All kinds of things went through my mind as I frantically searched the neighborhood for my child. Well, luckily and thankfully I did find her, and as you can imagine, there were a lot of tears and a lot of hysterics. Eventually, however, she was able to get me calmed down. And she said, "It's okay, Mom." Well, the next day I was determined not to make that mistake again. I put her on the bus and said, "I'll be there for you, kid. I'll be right there at the gate. Have a good day. Bye-bye." And as I walked through one of the easements through our neighborhood to the gate, I get to the gate and I see the rear end of the school bus driving away, and not a kid in sight. Not again, I can't find my child. Because all of the children had walked through another easement to the neighborhood. So again, more frantic searching, more panic. And as I come around the corner of my block, there's my daughter sitting on the front porch. And I walk up all full of all my explanations of, oh honey, I'm so sorry, and are you okay? And she stops me mid-sentence and says, Mom, this is just too hard for you. How about if tomorrow I stay home, you stay home, and I'll come and find you? Do you think you can do that? Sometimes your children are smarter than you think, and yes, they may be even smarter than you. So my advice for parents everywhere is love your children. And go ahead and read the experts if you must. But give your kids some credit. They may be smarter than you think.
Thank you, Sandy. 1 minute of silence, please. Now, judges, you get 1 extra minute of silence, and so you can figure out who your first, second, third is on the tear off the bottom of the sheet, and hold that up in the air when you get it. Make sure you sign the back.
We go over our time.
Are you done with your phone?
I've already got to read the bird. Huh? You'll make it. Really? Whoa. Wow. That ought to be interesting.
Yeah, that one was really close.
Just tough competition.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our humorous speaking contest. When you're finished as a judge, hold your ballot above your head. And what we will do is we are approximately 20 seconds ahead after the end of the contest. Is that amazing or what?
Oh my God.
On the calendar for today, we have a 15-minute break. Restrooms are in the back. There are cookies that are just begging to be chewed on, coffee and water over there. So I will reconvene us in about 15 minutes. Thank you.
All right, now it's time to play.
Make it 10, because you're actually
Yeah, let's do 10 minutes. Let's see if we can be ahead. Oh. 10:40's the break.
Yeah. You're right.
Brian just said we're behind.
No, you're right. You're right on.
Congratulations.
That was not good. I've been strong.
I don't want to judge anymore. This is too
This is
freaking
tough, isn't it?
hard.
Yeah, I lost my time. Good night. 7:29 again. 7:29. 7:28. Oh, good. We're at 2 seconds.
Airline starts. Good job. Took that out.
I know it. I know it.
But she's good.
That was awesome.
I got distracted. Yeah.
It's probably a good thing you did.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, probably a good thing. Yeah.
Where'd it go?
Yeah.
I was like, man.
That was not.
You were not on.
That was not on. You can tell when I'm on, can't you?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
This room's different.
It is different. Yeah.
Sounds different. The look is different. There's nobody right there.
Yeah.
I can get that. You added some stuff. You took some stuff out.
Okay, so let's see who just called me from Wyoming. I don't want to judge.
Why do you leave that out? That's so good when you want to the mall.
I used to like to judge. I don't like to judge anymore. Really?
I'm like, what the fuck?
Who do I give it to?
You're just now done?
Yes.
You changed it
Why?
in several places.
Yeah.
I'm asking. I'm kind of curious.
I didn't practice enough.
Jane.
So,
Well, it's kind of different.
yes, there you are. I couldn't. I got him. There's got to be one more here.
They were like,
Okay.
Okay.
And then you can. Elisa, I don't know if you know her. Fergus. She can do it.
But you turn this on.
She is qualified. So, I'll just hang on to these until we get together.
That was a friendly face.
Here's one in 2 seconds to spare. 2 seconds to spare.
That's great.
You can't be told that now.
We're not supposed to know.
But it's already,
They're all turned in, so it doesn't matter now, right?
Don't say. There'll be a couple little laughs.
There'll be what?
Yeah, they'll want to know. Go shout at them. Oh, well, I know I should have bought one.
Thanks for popping stuff too.
I ate half.
They're going to bring some more coffee.
You're gonna get some water.
He did the best I've ever heard.
You know, I was going to run through that.
What kind of cookies do you like?
should have
But
brought
you
that same one
didn't
today.
miss the bobble. I mean, the raisin.